After watching Lygia Resurrected's An Honest Goth Talk video, I became inspired yet again. Now, I wrote the novel Spinsterella last year featuring an African American goth character, and I started listening to her talk about gothic literature. And she has a great point about a lot of people not reading gothic literature, but there's a big reason why quite a few people aren't really interested in Gothic literature. And after watching several other videos that discuss this point, I can agree with their idea that people really are uncomfortable with Gothic literature for the following reasons. Your Gothic literature is written in a very, very old world style, and it's very dense, and these books are very big. So they're very intimidating to younger readers like tweens and teens. They look at those type of books with those page-long paragraphs or block paragraphs, and it looks really intimidating to a younger reader. So I understand why some people don't discuss this literature, especially kids who are from any range from 8 to I say about 16, because that's not the type of literature they're used to. They're used to literature with small, lean prose, and that's like short block paragraphs, lots of dialogue, sort of a hybrid style like I use now, because I use a style like that in my novels, which amalgamates concepts from the novel and the screenplay, and that makes for a faster and easier reading experience where the reader can become immersed within less than 10 pages. And you really can't do that with classic literature. In classic literature, you're basically introducing things probably by the first 40 or 50 pages, but in most modern literature, if you're using the hybrid style like I use, you are into the story within 10 pages, because when I wrote Spinsterella, I wanted people to get into the book very quickly. So I used that hybrid screenplay novelization style to get people into it in a fast pace, because by the 10th page, you're right into the plot. You've met all the main characters, you see what the premise is, and you're right there. And that leads to my second point with modern Gothic literature, the genre that I think people should be trying to write in. A lot of indie writers, this could be a big market for you, because we really do need more stories about the goth subculture coming from writers of today, because writers of today can talk about the experiences of goths in the goth subculture today and tell stories that are relatable to readers of today, because that's going to get people reading, especially youngsters like the so-called baby bats. These are the kids who are really interested in the goth subculture, and they want to learn more about the goth subculture, and their only frames of reference are websites and blogs, and some of them really want to read YA stories, that means young adult in the publishing world, or juvenile fiction featuring goth characters and stories related to experiences in the goth subculture. And this could be a really strong market for any writer or publisher like myself who sees it, because there are kids out there who want to learn about the goth subculture. They want to read stories featuring those type of characters, and there are people who want to see that type of character in a story. And there's not that many pieces of literature out there that feature stories about the modern goth subculture, the modern goth experience, or even the past goth experiences from eras like the 1980s or the 1990s. And people really want to read about those kind of stories. They really want to see that type of experience put into a book, but we haven't had many people come out with that type of story and bring it to the marketplace. And I believe that this could be another growing market, like I have seen with African American fantasy and science fiction, another market that I try to write in. But that's what I do in other videos. But I look at the goth subculture, and I see a place for these type of stories in your Barnes and Noble, on your Amazon, or even on Kindle and Smashwords, where I publish primarily. And everybody wants to talk about the classics. And yes, that's a great foundation again, but we really need to start producing more of these kind of stories, because these are the kind of stories that really, especially bring in the youngsters, the tweens, the teens, and keep the subculture relevant with them, and it keeps it, going. It allows everybody to connect with it, allows everybody to see what's great about it, and it presents a positive image of what goth is to the world, so that people won't be running around with generalizations and false concepts about what goth is. And I that's one of the reasons why I wrote the Spinsterella novel, and it's one of the reasons why I'm writing Spellbound now. The Spellbound novel I'm working on, I'm doing that one because I really wanted to do a book for younger readers. The Spinsterella is a romance novel, which is primarily for older people, but I wanted to do a book for tweens and teens to show how the Matilda character came into the goth subculture, and how she had to deal with things like her parents' reaction to it, and the reaction of her peers, and how she managed to deal with all of these issues as she started entering into the goth subculture, how she discovered how to buy clothes, how she discovered her own style and her own identity. It's a tale of discovery, and I really believe we need more. Again, I keep repeating it, but we need more of those kind of stories, because these are the kind of stories that, again, are going to give people that positive impression of what goth is. It'll give them a better understanding of what goth is, and it'll allow people to appreciate, again, what's so great about goth. You can pick up Spinsterella on Amazon.com in paperback and an ebook format, and you can also pick it up on Smashwords. And I'm hoping you pick it up, and I'm hoping that you enjoy it, because if we start reading more modern goth literature, then we can start creating a market for modern goth literature for older readers and younger readers.